Good morning, Kev.
Morning, Alice.
How are you?
I'm good.
Very good. I've got you up bright and early today. We're back in an MG4 today, Morris, the car to Qatar, but we are very much in my wheelhouse, which is Welsh football. So we're going to the birthplace of football in Wales, the spiritual home. We're going to Wrexham up in North Wales, and we are there with a very special guest. We've got to pick him up from Cardiff, and yeah, all will be revealed.
The interesting thing is, a few years ago, before cars like this MG4 came out, a trip to North Wales would be very difficult because there isn't much charging infrastructure still in the middle of Wales.
But also what you've got to remember, there's not much of anything in mid-Wales. It's a very rural part of the country, a very rural part of the UK. Obviously, as we mentioned in the previous video, the infrastructure is only going to go one way. There are new charges going in every day, so it's getting better. There is still a little bit of planning needed, but it's not total wilderness, is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is what people forget, as you said, is there's not much in mid-Wales. It's a lot of nice rural countryside, so actually there's not much charging infrastructure because there's not much in the way of places to put that charging infrastructure. But as you say, it's getting better all the time. I looked on ZapMap for Wrexham, and there's plenty of opportunities for us to rapid charge and quite a few what's called destination charges if you're staying there for a bit longer and you don't need as quick a charge. I know I'm not great at directions, but I can see we're in Cardiff, so I'm assuming we're getting close then.
We are very, very close to picking up our special guest. In fact, the meeting point is just around the corner here. So, our special guest has just arrived. Here he is, Mr. Noel Mooney. Bore da.
Nice to see you. So, we're giving this a go.
Yeah.
We're heading for Wrexham. Alright, you'll have to explain to me now because I'm not an expert here, but I'm looking forward to this. So we put it into drive, I presume?
Yeah, put the brake into drive.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
as soon as Kev has got his belt on and his mic on, he's ready to go.
When I first moved here to Wales, there was an electric MG Jeep outside the door of the FAW.
Yeah.
There was no one around, but I picked up a key because I had to go to, it was a Cardiff City match. So I didn't quite know all the geography and all that stuff, but I got in my electric Jeep, and the first thing I was struck by was how quiet it was.
Yeah.
There was no sound, so that was quite eerie when you first do it, but I couldn't believe how easy it all was, if that makes sense. It was just simple, everything.
Yeah. So this is the MG4, so this sort of segment-wise would go up against maybe like a Ford Focus or a Golf or something.
Yeah.
But it's, like you say, it's so quiet because it's electric.
I know most people say they're automatics, but actually an electric car doesn't really have any gears. It's just got one speed, so you don't have the shift between gears. It's literally just stop and go. And
the next question for you: why do petrol and diesel cars have all the gear shift? What's the difference?
basically, with an electric car, you've got your electric motor has got what's called torque from 0 miles an hour, so it's got a much wider power band, whereas a fueled car has quite a narrow power band. So that's why you have to have the gears to keep it in the optimum range, so it's got the actual power to move you, whereas electric motors don't have that issue.
We'll do
Lovely
Wrexham.
car to drive, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really smooth.
Yeah. Well, this is the very car that they took to...
Is this the actual car?
This is the actual car.
Well, that was a great thing. I saw some of the players, the ex-players. I think Kevin Ratcliffe, Lenny Gavin, a few more got in the car in different parts. I saw Kevin Ratcliffe driving through Israel and things like that.
Crazy moment, isn't it?
Yeah, memories of a great time. There was so much for us going on at the time. Obviously the players preparing, but we had all the different activities in Wales. The giant bucket hats, the stuff in all the different schools. It just felt it was like a whirlwind. Quite a drive today though, because Wrexham was 3.5 hours.
Yes, yeah, we've got a bit of a drive today, and we are heading up to Wrexham for an FAW partnership launch, is that right?
Yeah. So we've got Maria Huntelaar is the Vice Chancellor of the Wrexham University, and we have a relationship for a number of years, and today we're relaunching and refreshing that partnership, which is good timing, obviously, with the great buzz around Wrexham, the football club, who's done a terrific job under Rob and Ryan. They're really, the love for football up in North Wales is massive.
Yeah.
It always has been, but this Wrexham story is fantastic for us. So we'll call to the stadium today. We'll get to talk to the university, which is an important partner for us in terms of promoting football and giving people the chance to get into the football industry up in North Wales. But also, we'd love to play there in October. We're playing against Gibraltar in a friendly match in October. And we're really hoping that we can cross the T's and dot the I's with the football club on playing in the Kairas. So to bring the national team, the national men's team back up to Norway is important for a lot of people in the FAW. So we're really hopeful that in October, for the first time in many years, our national team, I think it was Trinidad and Tobago, was the last friendly that
was it Ben Woodburn that scored on a 1-0?
Go on!
We'd love to bring the women's team up there more often as well, because their attendances have grown massively.
Yeah.
We had a game in Cardiff City Stadium late last year. There was 15,000 plus at it, which was marvellous. But like, we're in Nations League A now for the Women's League, for the qualifiers to the Euros. So we're in the top 16 countries in Europe, and in our group we're playing Denmark, Germany, and Iceland. So it's home and away. So there's 6 games there. This year, we've got 3 games. You'd imagine 2 or 3 of them will be in Cardiff City Stadium. And if you've got, if we're going well and we capture the imagination of the public like we have done so far, if we continue that great move, I don't think it'll be that long before you see a full house in Cardiff City Stadium to watch the women's team play, which would be a big milestone for us. It felt like last year, that we were breaking glass ceilings all the time. Every game seemed to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, the likes of the BBC have done a terrific job in, profiling the players, making sure the coverage is world class, the analysis of the games. People buy into the whole product, the wider product, which is how it's shown, and the backstories of the players, all that kind of stuff. This is the best route, by the way. Like, there's probably other routes to get to Wrexham, but in terms of scenery and just seeing the country at its best, I love this drive. This particular part is number 1 across Banai Penyog. So to see what it looks like there, it's, when I first drove, I was like, oh my god, this is just heaven. And we regularly, my wife and I were with our son, regularly come out here at the weekends just to hang about, look at the waterfalls, climbing mountains, doing a bit of hiking. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the environment, obviously, as you've heard, like it's in a winter mode out here to stay one with nature, as you say.
And there's a lot of charging infrastructure going into Banai because the national park has deployed a lot of it. One of my other hats is I do stuff for them, so the charging infrastructure in Brecon is kind of, they were one of the early adopters. There's still people who say, oh, you can't use an EV, because they are different, but they've always found the best way with EVs especially to get people bought in is bums on seats. So basically, by getting you to drive this car, you're experiencing it from a different perspective.
That's a good point. Like, our partners play a big part too, so thinking about who we partner with. If you take Nathaniel as an example, I was really struck by him when how future thinking was. He came up with the idea of the electric car to Qatar. I really struggled with that, by the way. I'm saying electric guitar and electric car to Qatar as well. But he came up with that idea. Was very future thinking to show what an electric car, what this car, funny enough, could achieve and do. I shared my wife and I went for a walk, and our son's 3. Went up to Penny Van.
Penny Van,
Went up recently. Oh my god, what a fantastic walk that is.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. But coming out here, as we say, to Pennsylvania is a great reminder of why we drive these cars.
One of the plans that I think stood out to me, looking at the FAW's sort of commitment to sustainability, is something that I think would be quite interesting, not only for electric cars but also for Bridgend, obviously where we're based, is the plan to have hopefully electric car chargers at the Cymru Premier clubs.
Yeah.
That would be really sort of I guess groundbreaking thing to bring electric car chargers to Welsh football fans, as you say, to the domestic leagues, and to show that, look, you know, these things are accessible, but also as a form of revenue that these clubs can access.
Yeah, there is revenue for the clubs to access from having car charging points in their car parks on the ground. But I mean, what we're going to do is we're going to launch a whole new strategy for the Cymru Premier Division later in the year. We're just working through the detail now, but you know, when we look at our league, our top division, it's got a lot of work to do to reach its potential. The league is 30 years old, and my own sense, and the sense of the board of the FAW and the council, is that we should invest now at this moment to really grow our Premier Division. And to do that, you know, you're not going to compete quite with La Liga in France or the Premier League beside us, because of the amounts of money that wash through them leagues and the global interest in them. So what you've got to do is not try to take them on head to head, I would say. You've got to create a USP around your own league and what's going to make it special. So I think what we saw coming out of COVID, that there was definitely a move back towards community and building communities that's work closer together, and so things like sustainability definitely are part of the modern community and the community that thrives. So as part of the package that we put out to clubs later in the year, and as part of the USP and the brand of the new league, sustainability really needs to be at the heart of it, to differentiate it first of all from other leagues maybe. But also, as you quite rightly say, there's revenue opportunities for the clubs, and we want the clubs to have a bit more cash coming in so they can fund their infrastructure or their academies or their whatever they're trying to do. So there's the implementation of their strategies. We want them to have more funding. So it feels to us like a win-win, that you can come to the match, charge your car, the club benefit financially, and the environment benefit. So it seems like a no-brainer, really, doesn't it? So we're arriving now in Colliers Park. We've had a fantastic day, Bob.
We have.
And now we're turning into Colliers Park in Wrexham to launch this partnership. And it looks nicely set out. The sun is shining on Welsh football.
Beautiful day for it.
Yeah. Now we're going to park it up over here so everyone can see it.
Perfect.
And no range anxiety at all.
None. I didn't even think about it, to be honest. I kept an eye on the battery here that still shows we've got 33% on the battery. And really perfect.